I'm Ron Harris, and this is Jason Laufenberg, and we're bringing you your Hawashai news. How's everybody doing tonight?
Hawashai News Network. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing tonight, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How's everybody doing on the other side of the screen? I see we got Tormo, we got Yahweh's daughter in the house. A few other people showed up as well. I'm doing great. It's going to be interesting to be going through the Hawashai news. We're going to maybe start a news network. We're going to start maybe rolling with that a little bit more.
We'll be the network news. That'd be fun. Very fun. Yeah, so there's a bunch of channels on YouTube that cover current events. They're like headline readers. They put their take, their spin on it. We've done some of that along the way where we're covering things that are popping off, but oftentimes we delve into topics and dig into them deeply. Topics like the shape of Earth, the nature of Earth, and who created it. So we spin off into those areas and we do the deep dives, but sometimes, like times like now, it's time to just sort of stay up with current affairs and what's the latest and most breakingest thing in the world, and especially from our perspective. So ever since this whole lockdown, the COVID, that thing took off this year, we were right at the front of it, but it got boring, right? Eventually there was just like nothing new coming out, and it was just every day-to-day type stuff. We had to start wearing masks to go into stores, and it just got boring. But now with this whole election process, we've got a whole bunch of things to talk about, and we're just having fun doing predictions, speculation, that type of stuff. Having gotten to know the enemy so well and be able to see their tactics, to be able to go through the propaganda that's being spewed from these, certain outlets, make correlations, and then make predictions. That's what we're going to be doing. So as things pop off, as soon as there's a couple things that connect to each other, you can start to see an agenda building. And there's three big things that popped off today that we saw that we would like to just point out to people, just sort of make sure that this is something that you're cognizant of. And going forward, having become aware of these topics, you're probably going to see them a whole bunch more. And then you'll remember it, and you'll see how it all ties together, because we were able to call these things out so early just with the techniques that we employ that I just listed. So, brother, what have you been seeing?
So what I was just doing actually was I shared our Hangout about 50 times real quick while Jason was just giving you the intro. So what I've been seeing is I'm still seeing a huge amount of support here in Leander, just north of Austin, Texas, of absolute rabid Trump fans. I'm seeing it everywhere. Excuse me, I'm seeing a lot of people that are well educated on how the actual electoral college process actually works. So I'm learning that there's still 2 or 3 more dates where things are going to get tallied and more people are actually going to vote. The electoral college group themselves actually make a vote, and it supersedes what the people vote for. So I've been listening to that. I've been seeing Trump's been really quiet per the Steve Pieczenik report that the Sun Tzu art of war, he's letting the Democrat side run their mouth and do all their stupid things. And then they're supposed to they're supposed to manipulate from behind the scenes quietly and then come through and chop down the tree. That's what I'm seeing. I'm hearing it. I'm seeing a lot of people. So the 3 appointed judges to the Supreme Court, that whole thing is absolutely hilarious, because there's so many clips going around right now of like Joe Biden just absolutely reaming these people, like making them just like, you would hate that person. But on the other hand, I think it's all kangaroo court. When I see these things happen, I'm like, this is fake ass. This is baloney. I'm not buying it.
I don't think we're on camera on the live stream.
Has nobody seen us?
I don't think so.
Wow. Was that in the chat, or did you notice it?
I just noticed it. Yeah.
Everybody's been missing our faces. I hit the button. I don't know how it went away. I'm really sorry, everybody. We're going to have to start again. Hold on. Let me get the intro song.
Woohoo!
Should I play it again? It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't hear it, though. It's almost like... So, yeah.
You can pick it up through your headphones.
Welcome to Yahushai News Network. I'm Ron Harris, the co-anchor with Jason William Laufenberg, and tonight we'll be delving into the deep corruption of the elections in 2020. Sit down, buckle up, and prepare to be astonished at the we're about to share. Your turn, bro.
Yeah.
You can't hear it though. That's the thing.
The weather. I gotta point up here.
Tom will call those amateurs.
The sun's going to get 7 times hotter, and it's going to stop raining. And over here in the Midwest, there's going to be extreme drought and famine.
I got something for you. You got the sad trombone. You just didn't know it. So yeah, we definitely have some corruption going on. The link I still don't know if you sent me. We're going to go into an observation of an observation of an observation that gets cut off of Fox News, right? The Kelly McElhaney.
I think I did send it to you.
Oh, did you? Hold on. Shut up! I better check.
Yeah, it's the click. It's the link before the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully the people aren't getting. I haven't seen any responses from the soundboard yet, but no, that was the new breaking. So before that, I clicked on my own link, amateur.
And I want to show you the
I give myself the soundboard here in a second. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. Obviously, I was so excited that I forgot to screen share our cameras. So yeah, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? What's in your mind right now?
All right. So one of the major takeaways that I have right now is we've covered that since Biden was given, he's been named president-elect by the AP, that from that point forward we haven't heard Trump speak, and that was Saturday morning. So we knew that all Saturday, and I was saying right away, I don't think he's going to speak this weekend. So all day Sunday, I was really expecting to hear from him today. So far, it's 8:11. I guess that would be 9:11 Eastern. That haven't heard from Trump yet, and it's 9/11. 9/11. Like, I'm thinking to myself, we should have heard from him by now. Like, it's really starting to get weird. So how long is he going to play this game where he doesn't say anything? Well, he had his spokesperson, I don't remember her name, but...
Kelly McElhaney?
Yeah. He had his spokesperson come out and start saying something, and on Fox News, and she gets cut off by Kuvoto or whatever. So that's the clip that you want to share. It's this whole saga right now of the vote going to Biden and nothing being said about it right now. All it does is reconfirm my hypothesis that the art of war is being played right now, that there's going to be the rug pulled out from underneath the left. So I want to start keying up a term in people's heads. I want to own the hashtag. Team Yahushai should own this hashtag, pull the rug. Because we are grabbing it first. We're identifying the whole PSYOP, the whole plan. It should be able to be wrapped up in pull the rug. And we'll just continue to show people the evidence that we're seeing. And if we're wrong, well, we'll just follow the narrative where it goes. But this seems really well pre-programmed, put out there. We're just showing people what it is that we're going off of. So the big topics tonight, based on what we came across today, are the Supreme Court has 3 Bush versus Gore alumni. We've got a headline to read right there, an article, and get the backstory on. So the appointees that Trump has put on the Supreme Court actually weighed in on the decision in 2000, Bush versus Gore. So there's something super interesting there. And then this morning we were waiting to hear since this all took place on Saturday, on the weekend, like your first reaction was like, what's the stock market doing? And they're like, oh, it's closed all weekend. It's not going to open until Monday. So we were waiting to see Monday morning, the opening. We looked at it this morning, and all of a sudden it was just skyrocketing because of the Pfizer jab that was announced today. So that right there, supposedly everybody's all excited, and the market's just being flooded with money. Everybody wants in because of the Pfizer jab. And then, go ahead.
Well, to say that is one thing, but Biden wants to absolutely. So we're going to have to probably do a news report and show everyone what Biden's plan is, because it feels like there's like deja vu going on, because there's not one person in the country that would have voted for what he wanted. He wants to destroy everything, shut down mining, shut down coal, shut down gas, shut down oil. He wants the Green New Deal, no more buildings, no more cars, no more buses, like complete lockdown again, the whole country, no kids going to school, everyone has to wear masks all the time, everywhere. All this is coming, like, even though he isn't the actual president-elect, it's just the Associated Press that's come out and said that, right? Because of the whole thing with the coronavirus, and they were allowed to do all these mail-in votes, which were actually going to probably be used against the corruption. They're going to be used to expose the wicked people in one fell swoop. All of the swamp should be drained if we were in charge of this operation. So it's going to be quite interesting to see where it all goes.
So what we didn't get in the Trump addressing the nation, having words saying this. You would think, like, just imagine yourself, if you were president right now, you were going through this whole situation, you would think that you would come out in front of the nation and say, listen, people, this is just the media that has called this. There's nothing legal, there's nothing binding about this whatsoever. There's still a process that has to go through, and we have some legal arguments that we're going to be, employing, and this is going to get dirty. I've prepared you for this. I'll let you know that this might happen. So no, we've got absolute radio silence. But today he tweets that he's fired or terminated this Esper character.
Yeah.
And we're going to see what we can extrapolate from that, because we're going to talk about the reason why Trump and Esper had a rift between each other, and it has to do with the Insurrection Act of 1807. So we got some links that we're going to be going through. We'll be doing some reading. This is just casual. We're just doing this for fun, because what else is there to do right now other than just stay on top of what's happening right now? This is what we've been building up and waiting for. We're waiting for something to pop off, something big.
Yeah, we're always ready. And I guess you can start off with the screen share if you want. Okay. I'll play the get ready for my clip after. But yeah, thanks everyone. Let Jason get everything set up here. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate your likes and comments below. This is the Limitless channel for this week. We'll be going back over to the Awake Souls YouTube channel next week. So everyone, again, buckle up, fasten your seatbelt, stay tuned, and get ready.
Hey, but I do want to say that now that people are seeing what can happen, that you should be aware that at any moment's notice, the second strike can come on the Awake Souls channel. It could.
Blasphemy,
it could.
Don't even talk.
Well, it's just important for people to think about it from the sense that. All right, so
we only covered the SJWs once. Bro.
If you're looking, what?
We only covered the SJW ones. They're the ones who struck us.
Yeah, but if I'm just prepping people so that this can be used as an example. So if all of a sudden you're looking for content from Ronnie and I, it's not because we've stopped doing stuff. It's because we're being censored. So that means that wherever you're expecting our content to show up, I'm just letting you know what we'll do. So like all I was able to do with Awake Souls is do a pinned comment on my last video. Mm-hmm. The pinned comment tells people we're over at the Limitless channel. All right, so that's the best we can do. If all of a sudden you were looking for content from us and you didn't see something coming from the Limitless channel, what you should do is you should look at the last video, and there will be a pinned comment telling you where we're at next. And so it is possible that we're going to have to start moving around and shifting, but we've prepared for this because that's what we do. We like look and try to make plans and be strategic and all that. So we might have to jump platforms at a certain point, but we're just going to keep doing what we're doing as long as we're here. And we'll do the best that we possibly can to leave the notices to people as to where we're going to be, and we'll just keep going. So the links. Hello to everybody that has showed up. This thing keeps dying. So this is the Fox one, but you're going to be covering it from a different perspective. I just want to show people this. This is the head of Judge right now. So the Fox News is actually, Fox News cuts off Kayleigh McEnany presser with scathing smackdown. This is like corner of the Judge right here, and this was the big news today. The COVID miracle, the jab, right? Jab. They're using the jab term. 90% protection. So maybe we'll go into the jab first, because this is it's big, it's important. These are links that I pulled on this earlier today. When it came to hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine and a whole bunch of other poisons, if you look back on Awake Souls, I started covering this. And so when I'm looking at what it is they're touting as being this serum that we're supposed to shoot up in our body, I want to know what's in it. I want to know everything about it. And so this is what I found that had like the most tech talk about this. And so these vials contain 5 doses of 0.3 milliliters each. It's for intramuscular use, contains no preservative. Dilute before use. So discard 6 hours after dilution when stored at 2 to 25 degrees Celsius and 35 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So what we're going to see here is once this stuff is like exposed to normal temperatures, they have like a 6-hour shelf life on it. Principal display panel. Look at, so storage. Prior to dilution, store at minus 80 Celsius to minus 60 Celsius, which for us that understand Fahrenheit is minus 112 to minus 76. There's not many things that I know of that require that cold of storage. That's some serious cold storage.
What's going on there, man? That's really odd.
Yeah, so the way this stuff is stored is like frigid cold, and then each one of these vials contains 5 doses, but they have to dilute it as well. See, it says must be diluted before use with sterile 0.9% sodium chloride injection. So sodium chloride is salt. It'd be a salt water or saline type solution. After dilution, store the vaccine at 2 Celsius to 25. That's that 35 to 77. Discard after 6 hours. So it's like the fries at McDonald's or whatever. Like after 6 hours of sitting there and nobody's eating them, they're supposed to throw them away. But do they? We're RX only, manufactured by Pfizer. So here's more tech data. Product type. This is a human prescription drug. Route of administration, intramuscular. That means they bang it into you. So it says RNA ingredient, BNT162B2. The RNA ingredient, BNT, and blah, 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 blah. inactive ingredients. It has lipid ALC. Lipid ALC, these numbers. The strength, they decided they're just not going to fill that in. Nobody needs to know about that. Potassium chloride, monobasic potassium phosphate, sodium chloride, sodium phosphate, dibasic, unspecified form, and sucrose. They're going to give you a little sugar dose. But, so under marketing category, they have it under unapproved drug or other. Under marketing start date, they have this November 4th, 2020. So we're at the 9th. Marketing start date is pretty new on this stuff. Produced by Pfizer Manufacturing Belgium. And let's see, there's this biopharma. There's a couple other companies in this joint venture of sucking up billions of dollars to bang poison into people. We'll be covering that.
And that's the reason why the stock exchange rocketed up today. That's what you're telling me. Excuse me.
Well, that's this next article right here. The oil price in the Oslo Stock Exchange, straight up after notification of an effective vaccine.
Had the sound effect for you there, bro.
The market boom right here. So people have probably heard it's 90% effective or efficacy. Well, we're going to be hearing the word efficacy a whole bunch. Right?
No contraindication words, though, right? But we're going to hear efficacy.
Efficacy.
I'd rather hear what the contraindications are.
All right. So this was another article that was up on Drudge. The COVID-19 vaccine, I'll make this a little bigger, could fundamentally change pandemic direction. This is from WHO, the World Health Organization. Who, anybody that's been doing any truthing understands that this is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Right? All right, so they're saying maybe rolled out by March 21st. Remember, Trump said as soon as a vaccine becomes available, he's going to put the troops on the street. It'll be available within 24 to 48 hours. This next article, this one right here, is hilarious. It gives us all the down and dirty, and it shows just what a joke this whole thing is. This is New York Times. Pfizer's early data shows vaccine is more than 90% effective. So we'll skim through this article. We'll do some reading. This is that company BioNTech that's connected to this. We're hearing 90% effective in preventing. So just the way they score these vaccines, it's 90% effective. We're going to find out what that means. It's a joke. It's ridiculous.
Oh no!
So they're looking at 2 months of safety data. 2 months. Now, I do remember my mom telling me about a number of different drugs and stuff that were touted and people started taking, and then they found out, years later, that this was the source of all these illnesses that were taking place, and then that drug would be banned, and bad pharma. So the idea that 2 months of safety data is anything to go by is insane, completely insane. So we've got the historical moment. Let's keep going here.
I'm with you.
So we got 11 vaccines that are in late stage trials. So their 2 months is almost up. This news comes just days after Joseph R. Biden cinched victory over President Trump in the presidential election. Right? They're just
everywhere you look, they're saying it, even though it's still just the Associated. It's the press, the media that's come out and said it, right?
And Trump's not saying a word about it either. So Operation Warp Speed, the federal effort to rush a vaccine to market, has promised Pfizer $1.95 billion to deliver 100 million doses to the federal government, which will be given to Americans free of charge. Does that set off any alarm bells in anybody's head?
Nothing's ever free.
Any alarm bells being rung right there. So what is that? That's almost $2 billion. So if you take $2 billion and divide it by 100 million, how much are they getting paid per poison dose?
That's a good question.
So this is 20 million, 200 million. It should be 2 billion, right? Three. Here's your 2 billion. There. Well, all right, we should do 1.95 if we're gonna be tedious about this. Let's go 1.95. Where are we at here? 100,000. 1.95 billion divided by 100. Should be 100 million. Yep. Almost $20 a dose. 19.5.
And all the requirements for its storability also drives up the price due to the transportation. They have to like put all this stuff on the blockchain, right? It all has to be discoverable. Each dose, right? I'm gonna assume.
All right. So they do say we were never a part of the warp speed. She said, we have never taken any money from the U.S. government or from anyone. What does anybody see contradictions here? The government's promised Pfizer 1.95 billion for 100 million doses. And here you have Pfizer saying we were never a part of warp speed and we have never taken any money from the US government or anyone.
It's not adding up, that's for sure.
There's more that doesn't add up. All right, so the data released by Pfizer Monday was delivered in a news release, not a peer-reviewed medical journal. It is not conclusive evidence that the vaccine is safe and effective, and the initial finding of more than 90% efficacy. Now, this is one of those words that we're being inundated with right now. I don't believe that we should be using this word because I think this is bullshit, baffles brains for most people. So efficacy is the ability to produce a desired or intended result. Do you think for the general population, they could just say, and the initial finding of more than 90% desired result?
It doesn't make any sense. It's like using, I can't continue to show this clip due to the countenance.
Yeah, that's coming up. That's coming up. Yeah, could change as the trial goes on. We need to see the actual data, and we're going to need longer-term results. I'm all in favor of that. Like, well, I'd never be taking. I don't want to bang any poisons into my body.
There's absolutely no banging going on in our veins, right? That's absolutely ridiculous that anyone thinks that they actually need to have something shot into their body. Right? Maybe if you like get bit by a rabid animal or something, they might have some kind of something that just like, you don't take this, you might die. Right? Like,
well, I think there's psyops at play there too.
I don't know, bro. So, have you ever seen distemper in a raccoon, bro? You don't want to get bit by that. There is some pretty gross stuff out there that'll kill you.
Yeah, but what about like lockjaw, tetanus? So have you ever seen it was Saturday Night Live. The only lockjaw I ever saw in my whole life was Jim Carrey.
He was the fire marshal Bill or whatever. Let me show you something. He would, remember? No, the truth is there are some. Maybe there's not any reasons. Like if I get bit by a snake and they want to bang some anti-snake venom in me, I don't know, bro, if I'm going to turn that down. But if you're telling me that I need to get like a flu vaccine shot or something to like protect me from HIV or like any kind of STD. Like, there's no way you're going to inject me with that poison, right? It's what causes the disease.
All right, so this is where the retardation really starts to come out and show itself. The trial is expected to continue until this is how they came up with their like 90% efficacy rates. The trial is expected to continue until 164 people in the 44,000 person trial have developed COVID-19, and will also evaluate how well it protects against developing severe forms of the disease, and how well the vaccine protects people who have already been affected with the coronavirus. So
they're testing how they can make them sick?
Yeah, so they give 44,000 people, they bang them with this stuff, and then they wait until they get to 164 people that get sick, and then they say the trial's over and it's good. Right? I got a problem with that. It gets worse, everybody. It gets worse. This right here is where it goes off the rails retarded. It says half of the participants received 2 doses of the vaccine. So 50% of their trial group, this would be 22,000 people, received 2 doses of the vaccine, and half received a placebo. 22,000 people got a double bang. 22,000 people received salt water or sugar water or something. The first analysis was based on 94 volunteers who developed COVID-19. Dr. Jansen said the outside board did not say how many of those cases came from participants who had been vaccinated. But with a rate of more than 90% effectiveness, or let's get really fancy and technical here, efficacy, most had to have been in the placebo group.
Wait a second. Are you sure? That's just one of the most retarded things I've ever heard. Can you repeat that again?
This is gonna hurt people's heads, because they expect science to be intelligent and for the good of humanity and stuff like that. But when you see what science actually puts out, it's absolutely full F-on retarded. It says half of the participants received 2 doses of the vaccine and half received a placebo. The first analysis was based on 94 volunteers. This is their test group. What happened to the 44,000?
Now we're down to 90, and instead of saying half of the participants received this and the other half received that, that's not what they say. They say half the can't read it. Half of them received 2 doses and half received a placebo. So it's like you would just
nobody received 1 dose.
Yes, everyone got a placebo. It's saying
no, half got double dose, and half got a placebo. Nobody got a single dose. So, and then it gets really crazy at the end. But with a rate of more than 90% efficacy, most had to have been in the placebo group.
So they're all in the placebo group now.
The people that didn't get sick were the ones that didn't take the vaccine, people.
Go figure, right?
This is insanity. All right, so here's that BioNTech's headquarters in Germany. That building can just collapse to the ground right now. Gross. These people are just mass murderers soaking in billions of dollars. So that was the news regarding the vax. I while we're on the vax, I would like to point out, this is something that was shared by Yahweh's daughter. When we started covering this morning, as this information was coming out, we saw the different shill and propaganda disinformation agents right away going to the clips that have, what's the name of the lawyer that was saying we can't avoid the
I didn't wear my underwear. I kept my underwear on Dershowitz, Alan Dershowitz.
That guy, yes. And so, yeah, he was interviewed by that Jason Goodman, who was also interviewed by Jeranism. So
and Tucker Carlson.
And Tucker Carlson.
That's the circle we've got connected here.
It's just retarded that we know that little circle like that. It's just...
So, yeah, his argument was that you don't have the right not to get jabbed in the arm, right?
Yeah.
That was what Dershowitz said.
That's what he was saying. But so my really strong belief on this is that all the other shills out there on this topic are saying that really they're not going to force you to take the mark of the beast. That's not the way the mark of the beast works. You have to willingly accept it. So what they're going to do is try to put people into a situation where they feel like they have to take it in order to save and preserve their lives.
To participate.
To participate. So I do not expect this door-to-door type thing where they're going to just grab and force this on people. People will be able to reject it. Now that might have severe consequences. It could be internment camps, or it could be death penalties and stuff like that. But we will be able to reject it. I'm like pretty positive on that. That's like 99.9% with that one. So what I think this Dershowitz thing is it's the moving of the Overton window. It's something that Ronnie's been talking about for a long time, that when they go so extremely radical on one side, that then to back off of that, like they've already moved the bar up super high. So from my perspective, it's always the come along. You just get that click. Every time you can pull that lever and get a click on the on a come along, you just inch it closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, they move the goalpost so far away that you'll accept the 10-yard result, right? Which is still going to be devastating.
Right. So that's the vaccination talk. What was the next thing?
We're going to get into the Supreme Court Justice appointees.
All right.
I know your tabs before you click on them, bro. How's this going on? Do I need a sound effect?
Yeah, how do you do that?
I don't know how that worked.
Where is Supreme Court? Here we go. This is CNN, everybody. This was published October 17th, 2020. I think it's important for everybody to know this information, because chances are at some point Trump's going to speak up and say something to the country, and there's going to be a court challenge, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And funny enough, the Supreme Court is about to have 3 Bush versus Gore alumni sitting on the bench. How many people know that the 3 Supreme Court justices that Trump has appointed actually sat on the Bush versus Gore judicial thing? Or they were a part. They didn't sit on it. They were a part of that getting Bush elected, right?
So not only that, the soundboard is not working for me right now. Sorry, everybody. But not only are they appointed after being in the Bush versus Gore turnaround back to the Republican, but the 3 of them were absolutely run through the ringer by Joe Biden and the Democrats. They all managed to get through that war. So all 3 of them have vendettas, big ones. And there's videos going up all over the internet right now of Joe Biden just reaming these 3 people. And it's just going to be absolutely hilarious. Like, it's the absolute worst possible outcome that you could have. There is another angle.
Look at the thumbnail of this CNN video that they have right here. Do you see who's in the thumbnail?
Yeah, that's Kavanaugh.
And it says there, no word on when U.S. Supreme Court will rule on Florida recount.
And if you guys really want to dig down deep, we also think Kavanaugh was playing the other part as well. We're not going to get into that conspiracy, but you can look at it yourself. I can't even remember what that woman's name was. I'm sure someone in the chat will get that. But
So everybody understand that we are on CNN looking at a video clip that CNN did back in 2000 where Kavanaugh is their lead actor right here. This is so scripted out. Three Bush versus Gore alumni sitting on the Supreme Court bench now. 3? But they're... Oh, man. All right, so there's a bunch of juicy information in here. Judge Amy Coney Barrett, once confirmed, will be one of the 3 current Supreme Court justices who assisted the legal team of the then Texas Governor George W. Bush in the Florida ballot recount battle that came down to a single vote at the Supreme Court. A single vote. The court's December 12, 2000 decision. So this is key date. Cutting off Florida recounts tore apart the justices and the nation, and the case hovers in the air today as America approaches the November 3rd presidential election. See, we're looking back at this article retrospectively now. Of the original 9 who decided the case 2 decades ago, only 2 remain, Justice Clarence Thomas and Stephen Breyer, and they were on opposite sides. Wow, the drama. This is like fight to the century that they're setting up. Following are descriptions of the Justices Associations, some predictable, some serendipitous, with the milestone that would haunt any litigation reaching the justices in the race between presidential Donald Trump and the former Vice President Joe Biden. This is quite the setup. Roberts flew to Florida in November 2000 to assist Bush's legal team. He helped prepare a lawyer who presented Bush's case to the Florida State Supreme Court and offered advice throughout. So this is about Roberts' participation in it. Let's see here. So, after Bush became president, he nominated Roberts to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. The Senate confirmed him in 2003. Bush then elevated Roberts to the Chief Justice position in 2005 to succeed William Rehnquist. During his Senate confirmation hearing, Roberts declined to reveal his view of the justices' 2000 decision, saying, "A disputed election could come to the court again." Do you think this was all scripted, people?
Yeah, it's obvious. Look, it's
Headshot.
Obviously, the particular parameters in that case won't return to the court, he said. But it is a very recent precedent, and that type of decision is one where I thought it inappropriate to comment on whether I think they were correct or not. So then we have Brett Kavanaugh. He was also in private practice in 2000 and helped the Bush legal team. He wrote on a 2018 Senate questionnaire that his work related to recounts in Volusia County, Florida, with an interview with CNN. So you got CNN propping this guy up. Scroll through here. After the election, Bush hired Kavanaugh to be a counsel and then staff secretary. In the West Wing, Kavanaugh met his future wife, Ashley, who was Bush's personal secretary. Bush appointed Kavanaugh to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, where Roberts had first served. So they just worked them up through this ladder during Kavanaugh's Senate confirmation hearings. Democratic senators referred to his involvement in the Bush versus Gore litigation, but they did not ask him about the case. No questions asked about that case. Judge Amy Coney Barrett. Barrett wrote on the questionnaire she submitted to the Senate for her Supreme Court confirmation review, "One significant case on which I provided research and briefing assistance was Bush versus Gore." Imagine that! We got coinkydinks happening. She said that the law firm where she was working at the time represented Bush, and that she had gone down to Florida for about a week at the outset of the litigation when the dispute was in the Florida courts. She said that she had not continued on the case after she returned to Washington. During her hearings this week, She told senators she could not recall specifics of her involvement. I did work on Bush versus Gore, she said on Wednesday. I did work on behalf of the Republican side. To be totally honest, I can't remember exactly what piece of the case it was. There was a number of challenges. Separately, under questioning from Democratic senators, Barrett declined to comment to recusing herself from any Trump election case. So she declined to say whether or not she would recuse herself in a Trump election case.
Of course she's not going to. Why would she? She gets to have 10 years from now that on her resume. Also, proceeded over the court case dealing with the second overturned election, right?
Yeah.
It's obvious.
Trump has speculated that the Supreme Court could face another major lawsuit over the November presidential contest. I think this will end up at the Supreme Court, he said last month. And I think it's very important that we have 9 justices. So, everybody, can you see how it's possible that Ronnie and I are able to make predictions that come true? Like, if you know and understand the truth and you go through articles like this, they make it pretty obvious what the plan is. You got to be sort of dumb to not see it. On the bench, Justice Clarence Thomas. He is the only remaining member of the 5-justice majority that resolved Bush versus Gore. Thomas joined the unsigned opinion that said Florida had run out of time to recount disputed ballots without violating the constitutional guarantee of equal protection. The decision cemented the state's late November certification of a 537 vote margin for Bush over Gore from nearly 6 million ballots cast, and gave Bush Florida's decisive electoral votes. So this is the team, everybody. Clarence Thomas is back from 2020. We got these 3 other people that Trump put on the bench.
Yeah, I've got more to add.
That come from that. Yeah, you want a screen share?
Sure, if you're ready to hand it over.
Yeah, well, this is what I had for...
It was excellent.
For the justices thing.
Okay. Let me just get this set up here 1 second, everybody. Yeah, thanks for tuning in for Yahushua News Network. Let me get the screen share going for Jay. Great episode. Great segment, Jason. Great segment. Loved it. And now, breaking. And over to Twitter. Breaking off Twitter. It looks like Netanyahu endorses Joe Biden. Now Israel is getting ready to put its hand out and ask them for even more money. Joe Biden's love affair with Israel will pick up where it left off. Now, going over to, we've got something coming off of Robert Farrell's Facebook page.
This is our dude, Judge Clarence Thomas over here.
Check
Clarence
this out.
Thomas.
So here's another judge that's going to be involved in the case, very likely.
Man, where's my, where's this at?
Is there a speed setting on
this is what they're afraid of. This is the lefties' worst nightmare over here. That this goes to the Supreme Court. Look at this. The fucking Constitution. Fuck you. That's what they are so scared that we're going to take this to court. And you know why they're so scared that they're going to take this to court? You know who the chairman was when they were doing the vetting of Clarence Thomas?
So this is another...
In the Senate?
Yeah.
It was everybody's favorite Joe Petto, boys. And they dragged this dude. They called this dude a rapist. They said that he raped that woman.
Wow.
And they slandered him, and they destroyed him, and they ruined his family, and they wrecked him. I'm going to play a little bit of this, but this is his final speech. This is at the very end of his confirmation. And listen to this man.
I called my mother. She was confined to her bed, unable to work, and unable to stop crying. Enough is enough. Mr. Chairman, I am proud of my life.
Can I get you, Jason, while you're in the background, if you could do a search in YouTube for Biden after Kavanaugh. Maybe there might be a clip of Biden calling Kavanaugh, or Kamala Harris confronts Kavanaugh on the bench or something while we play this.
Okay.
Might be interesting.
Proud of what I've done and what I've accomplished. Proud of my family. And this process is trying to destroy it all. No job is worth what I've been through. No job. No horror in my life has been so debilitating. Confirm me if you want. Don't confirm me if you are so led. But let this process end.
Incredible. Listen to that man. Listen to him. They wrecked him. They assassinated his character in front of the world to see because they couldn't have another Republican-leaning person on the SCOTUS. And there's your chairman right there. This son of a bitch. Before he got all them hair plugs, everybody. There's Joseph Piss Pants Biden before he needed them age pills, apparently. There he is, sitting on there, attacking this man, dragging this man. My favorite line of this heartfelt ending of this situation here, because I'm not going to give you any more rope to hang me with. This dude bringing that energy. If you guys want to see the rest of this, it goes on for another minute. And he goes, listen, I got nothing to hide. But I have some privacy as a human being. My private life is private. It's none of your goddamn business. And these people are like, no. What they did to Judge Kavanaugh, that's the first time I saw something like that, because I'm only 40 years old, Mrs. Salty. I didn't see them do this to Judge Clarence, man. They always do this. They are always ripping our people down. They're always dragging our people, slandering them, politically assassinating them, character assassinating them in public. And this dude wasn't having it. And now, holy shit. Do you believe in synchronicity? Do you believe in serendipity? Do you believe in the universe? Do you believe in karma, motherfucker? This dude, right? Holy shit. I'm telling you right now. Donald Trump is an 8th dimensional space chess grandmaster. Not only.
8th dimensional space chess master. I'm sorry, I had to pause it.
I don't think he could even beat me at it.
Oh man, that was hilarious. I could probably take him down.
Yes.
If this goes to the Supreme Court, does Joe Biden need to get through this man who's been sitting there for 30 years? Just sitting there going, yeah, bring me the head of Joe Biden. Holy shit. Oh, damn, can you imagine? You imagine this, man? This dude, Judge Clarence Thomas right now, Mrs. Salty, he's salivating.
This is a completely different guy than what we've been showing, right? So this is another character that they're going to have to face. I'm going to go to the chat. Apparently we've got another link. Oops, something went wrong with that link. Don't know if that one's going to work. Don't understand why I did that.
That's a
what?
That's a channel switch when you.
No.
Yeah, it has to do with the channel that you're logged into when you get that screen now.
Oh no, I haven't switched no channels. I go to the chat. She's trying to mess me up. Yeah, how was daughter? What's going on? What are you trying to do? Should I open it in a new tab? Okay, let's see. Thank you. That was really quick. Excellent work, Team Yahweh's daughter.
I've got the link too, but
is it the same one?
Yahweh's daughter got it first.
Is it the same link?
Yeah, this is the one that I was going to bring up as well. But thank you.
Look at this pompous ass. Look at this kangaroo court shenanigans going on here, man. Like, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, people listening to this in the future, people not hearing this that are hearing it through the ether, I want to let everyone know that this entire process, this entire system is a sham. We need to get rid of all these people, all of this. It all has to be put on a digital blockchain type system where people can vote with their cell phones on key and critical situations. We don't need a president. We don't need any government sucking us for taxes. We need to abolish all this. I just want to say that.
This world has to be destroyed.
This is
and
ridiculous.
We have to come under the rulership of Yahweh Shai. It has to be that way.
That's the king, right? He's the good and gracious king that loves us. These
You
people
don't need
do not.
blockchain. You can just worship him.
Well, he
He'll be
might
just.
institute some sort of just system too. So
Yeah.
I'm just warning you all. We can call it the like Golden Arches chain or something like.
No golden arches. No, that's McDonald's crap.
Well, I meant like the heavenly rainbow thing or something. I don't know, man.
Rainbow the Satanists will twist that too.
Oh, I can't. Man, heaven's app heaven. I don't know, man. Now you put me on a spot. I sound like a rambling fool. Let's just play that.
No.
clip.
Mueller or his investigation with anyone.
Well, it's in the news every day.
Have you discussed it with anyone?
With other judges, I know.
Have you discussed Mueller or his investigation with anyone at Kasowitz, Benson, and Torres, the law firm founded by Mark Kasowitz, President Trump's personal lawyer? Be sure about your answer, sir.
She's coming hard.
Well, I'm not remembering, but if you have something you...
See the guy behind her? Look at this guy's look.
Be sure about your answer, sir.
He's like,
Ooh.
then you got the
yeah,
other guy
yeah.
on the other side, like grilling his ass. Like, those are her aides.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Those are her aides, right?
Yeah.
Well,
It's all an act.
I'm not remembering, but if you have something you want to...
Are you certain you've not had a conversation
Said
with
that.
anyone at that law firm?
Kasowitz, Benson.
Kasowitz, Benson, and
Yeah.
Torres, which is the law firm founded by Mark Kasowitz,
Yeah.
who is President Trump's personal lawyer. Have you had any conversation about Robert Mueller or his investigation with anyone at that firm? Yes or no?
Well, is there a person you're talking about?
I'm asking you a very direct question, yes or no?
I need to know the... I'm not sure I know everyone who works at that law firm.
I don't think you need to. I think you need to know who you talked with. Who'd you talk to?
I don't think I'm not remembering, but I'm happy to be refreshed, or if you want to tell me who you're thinking
So
of who works.
are you saying that with all that you remember, you have an impeccable memory? You've been speaking for almost 8 hours, I think.
She's just giving it to him softly. Come on, I guess this is what we found. I'm gonna speed it up. She's definitely
She's gonna question his memory.
now. She's like, you're super intelligent. Come on, Mike. Right? Like, she's like complimenting him.
Think more with this committee about all sorts of things you remember. How can you not remember whether or not you had a conversation about Robert Mueller or his investigation with anyone at that law firm? This investigation has only been going on for so long, sir. So
Right,
please
I'm not
answer
sure.
the question.
I'm just trying to think. Do I know anyone who works at that firm? I might know.
That's not my question. My question is, have you had a conversation with anyone at that firm about that investigation? It's a really specific question.
I would like to know the person you're thinking of, because what if
I
there's...
think you're thinking of someone and you don't want to tell us. Who did you have a conversation with?
I'm not...
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to raise an objection here. This town is full of law firms. Law firms are full of people.
First of all, I'd like you to pause the clock. Thank you.
The clock is paused.
Thank you.
Pause the clock. Let me raise my objection. This town is full of law firms. Law firms are full of people. Law firms have a lot of names. There are a lot of people who work at a lot of law firms.
What?
What is this?
Somebody started trolling. I gotta play that one. Like that wasn't scripted.
Full of people.
First of all, I'd like you to pause the clock.
Pause the clock.
Thank you.
The clock is paused.
Thank you.
Pause the clock. Let me raise my
This is
objection.
recognized.
This town is full of law firms. Law firms are full of people. Law firms have a lot of names. There are a lot of people who work at a lot of law firms.
Be a hero.
Vote no on Kavanaugh.
She's got the satanic lightning underneath her hero. What do those earrings say is what I want to know.
I just think it's hilarious that they got this stuff going on.
Senator Lee.
Who's this guy? Oh, that guy was with her. He had her purse still. Watch. Right here, this guy's. Oh, maybe
Senator
it was her
Lee.
purse.
On that point,
On that point.
abound in this town, and there are a lot of them. They're constantly metastasizing. They break off. They form new firms. They're like rabbits. They spawn new firms. But there is no possible way we can
You see the guy behind him?
They're like rabbits. They spawn new firms.
The guy behind him just, he couldn't believe it. He's like, F no. Did he just say that?
You just lost it.
All right, can anyone let me know? Does it sound like I'm coming through really loud on the other side of the screen? Thank you.
this witness to know
Look at his face.
they metastasizing, they break off, they form new firms. They're like rabbits. They spawn new firms. But there is no possible way we can expect this witness to know who populates an entire
Here
firm.
they go again.
That he's not even... My point of order, Mr. Chairman, is simply this. If there are names, if there is a list of names...
You see that one guy? Watch this.
Chairman,
This guy's
is simply
face
this.
right here.
If there
This guy.
are names, if there is a list...
It's like the happiest times of their lives, like, because this crap goes on every day. They have these meetings in these crazy ass courtrooms, and it's super boring. And then all of a sudden, they'll have like the Supreme Court justice hearing, and like they know it's on, right? Like activists pouring blood on themselves in the hallway, and like people outside the stairs with like flaming signs, like.
Names he can be given of the lawyers to whom she's referring, I think that's fine. But I think it's unfair to suggest that an entire law firm should be imputed into the witness's memory when he
That is a good.
doesn't know who
He's got a
works the law.
point.
Mr. Chairman,
Like Kamala could have just suggested the name of who she thinks he's talked to if she knows who it is, right?
Yeah, because like Mr. Lee is saying, these law forms, they spread like rabbits.
Mr. Chairman,
Senator Whitehouse,
we had
are you making a point of order?
well,
Senator Whitehouse,
I'm trying to figure out what the rules are here because we had a very, very long discussion about whether or not points of order were in order because this is a hearing.
Points of order were in order. I love this. This is retarded. Like,
He sounded like Elmer Fudd too when he was saying it.
who was it that said that one comment? Oh, we just went through this. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard too. Oh, it was Lindley Oz who said something like, Pan comes from the name Pan.
Like the name Pan? It comes from the name Pan?
And this thing, point of order has to be in order.
Whether or not points of order were in order because this is a hearing. And we were told that all of our points of order,
Senator Whitehouse,
all the documents.
there's never been a time in the 2 days where someone's made an inquiry of the chair where the chair hasn't recognized the member for a point of inquiry or a point of order.
And I've been
was one
recognized
of
now, and I appreciate that. But my point is that if the rule is that nobody on our side can make a point of order, then it ought not to be appropriate for Senator Lee to start making points of order after all of ours were summarily
Senator White,
silenced on the basis that we were in a hearing and not in an executive session. If we've moved out of hearing and into executive session, then I'm more than happy to make motions.
Senator
to
Whitehouse,
adjourn.
if the mere
To
fact that
adjourn.
you're speaking right now means that you've been allowed to make a point of order, the matter that you're talking about yesterday was a motion that the chair said was out of order because it was.
Yeah, we went on long enough with this clip. It was pretty funny though. If we had time, we could probably get some of the most disgusting comments from Joe Biden and Kamala. I don't even want to say her last name. It's upsetting. Sorry, but here we go. This is MSNBC covering Fox News about what we were talking about with Kayleigh McEnany.
And I want to show you the clip on Fox News that I mentioned. This is Neil Cavuto pulling away from White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany.
You don't oppose an audit of the vote because you want an accurate count. You don't oppose our efforts at sunlight and transparency because you have nothing to hide. You take these positions because you are welcoming fraud and you are welcoming illegal voting. Our position is clear. We want to protect the franchise of the American people. We want an honest, accurate, lawful count. We want maximum sunlight. We want maximum transparency. We want every legal vote.
So just so everybody knows, the whole joke when Trump said that like we can go inside the body with the light, right? And everyone mocked Trump like, oh, he's saying they're going to bang Javex or whatever, right?
Clorox. And Drano.
So really what Trump was actually talking about was rooting out the evil corruption, draining the swamp. And because they used the coronavirus so that they could mandate that everyone was allowed to mail in their votes, which was all they had to do was print fake votes. It's the absolute easiest way to steal an election. So even back in the spring, Trump was actually setting up the downfall of all the evil corrupt. So what we have in play here, and apparently you can use some sort of a Geiger counter or UV light, like he was saying, put the light inside the body. What he was saying was inside the body of the government. Put the light in and expose the cockroaches. So Trump's going to come out soon, and it's going to be the largest thing like ever. They're going to
pull the rug. Hashtag pull the rug.
Pull the rug out from underneath all of these corrupt people that helped and embedded. Now, of course, the top of the top are never going to go down. It's all the people that were underneath them. They're all going to get exposed. It's going to get turned over, and it's going to probably be way worse than in 2016. It's going to be civil unrest, right? We don't know exactly how bad it's going to get, but I just wanted to put that out there for everybody to understand the language that she's saying about the sunlight and all these other key terms are all going to be shown that it was a plan right back from when they started the coronavirus. Trump went along with it because he's this 8D space chess champion, right? And it's going to be hilarious. I can't wait. We're going to cover it all. We're going to get a little bit more fine-tuned. We'll probably be back on the Awake Souls channel. We're going to get better looking. We're going to do some different things with the channel. We're going to be like Yahushai News Network, right? So stay tuned with us. Let's keep going on this. I think it's funny they got her because they had the Huckabee Sanders, who spoke well and everything, but then they come out with this one, right? So you can see the play. She's Catholic, but she's got the cross, and she feeds to the QAnon crowd, all the Republicans out there that have now become Trump. You'll see thousands and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of women just like this Kaylee McElhaney, who actually does support Trump. He's gone around to all the different communities throughout the country, and he's made them all more prosperous. He's cut taxes. The whole thing is just the funniest charade. And really what the end goal might be is the elimination of the atheist, liberal, transgender agenda, right?
That does appear to be the setup. That goes back to the Albert Pike plan that we just keep referencing. It seems like it's still in play.
Good call.
Vote to be counted, and we want every illegal vote to be...
I just think we have to be very clear.
Whoa, cut her off, right?
Clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting, unless she has more details.
Can we get the Kaylee McElhaney address link in the chat, or Jason, one or the other?
Address?
This wasn't only cut on Fox. The White House probably...
No, I haven't seen it play longer than that.
No?
No, I haven't seen it, but maybe it's out there.
Again, Netanyahu is for Biden. And other people throughout the Supreme Court absolutely don't like Biden. Oh, geez, that. So yeah, if we don't have anything else, that's pretty much it.
Well, I've got one more set of tabs having to do with the Insurrection Act.
Oh, okay, we'll keep it going then.
Breaking. Live. 9/11. 9/11 p.m. Central. 9/11. No, 11/9. So the third aspect that was in the thumbnail was the Insurrection Act, and this has to do with the Trump tweet today where he terminated Mark Esper. So I don't keep track of who the current defense secretary is and all that kind of stuff, but apparently this was the guy. So just published today. In a tweet Monday afternoon, President Donald Trump said he terminated his Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper. Here's the tweets. I am pleased to announce that Christopher C., so he's got the C.C. Miller, the highly respected director of the National Counterterrorism Center, unanimously confirmed by the Senate, so he's got a parentheses, drop that, will be acting Secretary of Defense effective immediately. Chris will do a great job. Mark Esper has been terminated. These are harsh words. If you're the president, you're like, what? Oh, I didn't want that. Mark Esper has been terminated. I would like to thank him for his service.
So that's the only thing that Trump's done so far, right?
Yeah. So the latest revelation comes as Trump refuses to accept the results of the U.S. presidential election. Well, actually, Trump hasn't even talked to the American people yet. Ever since the AP has announced Biden as president-elect, Trump's just been in radio silence. But that's 8D space chess. So, this is where it gets interesting. It says, in an extraordinary break with Trump, Esper told reporters in June that he did not support the invoking of the Insurrection Act, a law from 1807 that would allow Trump to deploy active duty U.S. troops to respond to civil unrest stemming from protests against police brutality across the country. So, this right here is just, boom, right away. Esper's out, and the reason why there's a conflict is because he wasn't in support of invoking the Insurrection Act. So what does that tell you? He wants a yes man that does. But the funny thing is if you listen to Trump talk about this Mark Esper, he actually literally calls him his yes man. And CNN actually berates him as being Trump's yes man. It's really pretty funny. So I say this not only as Secretary of Defense, but also as a former soldier and a former member of the National Guard. The option to use an active duty forces in law enforcement role should only be used as a matter of last resort and only in the most urgent and dire situations. We are not in one of those situations right now. I do not support invoking the Insurrection Act, and Trump fired him. You are fired, because he needs a guy that's going to say, I support it. We want to use...
Yeah, they're about to invoke it. What do you mean?
The Insurrection Act, right? So there is a... let's see, there's a CNN clip. So I don't know how CNN's going to be about us doing our fair use commentary and criticism.
It's only the SJWs, bro.
Okay.
We can't bring that up.
So, breaking news. We'll speed it up a little bit. We'll speed it up a little bit.
I want to welcome viewers here in the United States and around the world. We continue with the breaking news. 48 hours after the election was called for Joe Biden, President Trump has just fired his defense secretary. I want to go to CNN's Caitlin Collins at the White House. Caitlin, can you give us the latest on this?
Yeah, Brianna, the president just let us know by Twitter that he...
I think this is absolutely hilarious.
I'm
because
sorry.
I'll slow it down here so that everybody can really pick up on this.
Just to let people know that she's in the same building as Brianna. Okay.
Yeah, CNN is... They green screen everything.
Yeah, they just basically send a guy with a truck and he parks there and his camera's pointed towards the White House. That's all it is.
So whoever this is on the right is being green screened in to the scene behind them, and they actually chose a scene with a guy doing a leaf blower thing. So they're just straight trolling their audience. It's hilarious.
He has terminated Mark Esper and is instead going to put an acting defense secretary in his place. That's the director of the National Counterterrorism Center that's going to be serving in that position. And this is a role that Esper likely would have only had for about 2 more months. But it was clear that the president had been wanting to fire Esper for some time. And Brianna, he came incredibly close over the summer to doing it and had to have some interventions from Esper allies to convince the president not to fire the defense secretary while he was campaigning to be reelected. And so they had assured the president he could wait until after the election and then he would have this chance, and now the president has taken it. And it's notable that it actually took this.
So notice that CNN is actually supporting Trump through all this. They're giving him full cover, saying that, oh yeah, this was during part of the election process and you'll have your opportunity at the end of this that you can do it. This isn't an attack. They're really supporting Trump.
Trump's been
long.
Trump. If anyone's watched CNN for the past 5 years, 10 years, Trump has been like one of their staple mark people. There's only a few characters like Don Lemon and who's that? Fredo, right?
For the president to do so. Of course, he's been a little preoccupied over the last few days with trying to contest the outcome of the election, but the president and his defense secretary had a relationship that completely deteriorated.
Is that the leaf blower?
It's the leaf blower.
Come on, bro. Why would they do that? It's so stupid. Like, you think they could wait to record the clip if she was actually live on the White House until after they blew them?
They intentionally use a scene with a guy with a leaf blower, and they have the audio up on it.
And the audio.
May, they had been on terrible footing to where the president was furious with Esper on so many occasions. He at one point at a press conference, remember, referred to him as Esper, saying that he was a yes man who said yes to everything. And it was just very clear.
Esper. He's the yes man. The guy that's being... The reason why Trump is firing him is because he's a yes man that did everything that Trump did. That's what CNN is saying right now. I'll just rewind that. She's literally saying that this was Trump's yes man.
Since about May, they had been on terrible footing to where the president was furious with Esper on so many occasions. He at one point at a press conference, remember, referred to him as Esper, saying that he was a yes man who said yes to everything. And it was just very clear that the writing was on the wall, that Mark Esper did not have long to go.
The yes man.
She got the Teca Teco Mene Parte or whatever, right? The writing on the wall as well.
And last week, our colleagues at the Pentagon reported that Esper had actually prepared a resignation letter in case he needed to turn it in this week because they wanted to make it as smooth of a transition as possible. So he knew this was coming, but instead of letting Esper turn it...
Just wait until the guy shows up with the blower and the scene.
Hilarious, man.
In that resignation letter, it appears the president has just flat out terminated him. And we'll have to wait to get details because remember, the last time the president fired a defense secretary with Mattis when he resigned in protest, the president and his aides tried to frame it as a retirement was happening when actually we found out shortly thereafter that Mattis was resigning in protest over the president's decisions when it came to troop withdrawals. So we'll have to wait to see what are the details here with Esper and how exactly this went.
There he is. I have to ring the bell. That's freaking hilarious, man. They do a report with the leaf blower guy in the shot.
And the audio for him cranked up.
Down. But the other thing is, Brianna, he might just be the first one that's on the chopping block because we know the president has been very unhappy with the Attorney General Bill Barr because he didn't feel like he prosecuted enough of his political opponents or prosecuted any of his political opponents to the degree that the president wanted. But also the FBI director, Chris Wray, who typically would serve a 10-year term, the president has also wanted to fire him as well. So really what the president is saying with this tweet firing Esper is that this is not going to be a quiet transition that you've seen.
I think she was watching the leaf blower, right?
A quiet transition as the leaf blower is going.
Presidents, they're in this lame duck period and someone else is replacing them. It can often be a pretty sleepy period. Donald Trump, it clearly is not going to be, Brianna.
No, clearly not. Caitlin, thank you so much. I want to go over to Barbara Starr at the Pentagon. And
now we're at the Pentagon, and she's in the room beside Brianna, too, right?
Right.
They don't have a leaf blower at the Pentagon.
But this person gets to say that they talk to people in the hallways at the Pentagon. Even though she's in a CNN studio that says just Pentagon on the wall.
CNN Pentagon, right?
Yeah.
You know, to that point, Barbara, this is supposed to be about transition. Normally, at this point in time, it's about moving things as smoothly as possible, you know, especially we're talking about a change in party here. And that is not what this is doing. Tell us about what the effect of firing Mark Esper, what is the effect going to be on the country on national security?
Well, look, there's no way around it. To some large extent, it throws the system into turmoil at the moment because this really is, at least right this minute, a shockwave through the Pentagon. Everybody knew Esper was on the outs with the president, but there was
because
a sense,
he was the yes guy that said yes to everything.
Except for the Insurrection
that he could make it through to the end.
Except for that, right.
at the administration. I mean, just a minute ago, I was out in the hallway. I stopped the first military officer.
Just out in the hallway, stopped the first military officer. She's in the CNN Pentagon War Room, right?
On the hallway that I knew. I asked him, have you heard? He said, what? You know, they didn't even know. And so I gave him the news, and his response, not suitable for the airwaves, because it was that much of a surprise. So where are we right now? Esper will go. We will find out exactly how all of this transpired. But there are a number of things at the Pentagon right now that are exceptionally critical. You still have troops in Afghanistan. The president says he wants them home by Christmas. Military commanders have told the president that's too optimistic. There's still a high level of violence U.S. troops need to stay in Afghanistan. Will that be a decision, a recommendation from commander?
Because Trump wants to bring those troops home because
that's what he campaigned.
He wants to do the Insurrection Act,
yeah,
and so if they're overseas,
troops,
he actually has to bring them home to do the Insurrection Act. All right, he's got to bring them home.
Points. And and I forgot to play the countenance part. If you have that link before we end.
Countenance was the
MSNBC Fox coverage.
Neil Cavuto.
In the field that the president let stand. The same thing about troops in Syria, troops in Iraq, and a number of special forces arrayed across Africa. What will happen with the troops? Is the president simply going to issue some edict? He wants everybody to come home.
Well, if he wants to do the Insurrection Act, yes.
That would throw things into significant disarray because the U.S. military wants to have an enduring presence overseas, extend U.S. influence with allies, and keep a sharp watch on it.
So they would lose their foothold in all these other nations if they brought them home to police the American people, is what she's saying.
Adversaries. So this will be an issue. Mark Esper was actually scheduled to travel to Europe next week to talk about troop withdrawals from Germany and a revised U.S. military presence in Europe. Don't know if that will now happen with the new acting Secretary of Defense. May not, and that will be an issue because the president wants a troop reduction in Germany. U.S. commanders have a very mixed view on that. When the Congress comes back in and really gets to work on the defense spending bill, one of the first things on the agenda, and Mr. Trump may be headed for a significant loss here, will be that legislation part of the spending bill to rename military bases that are currently named after...
That's what this is all about, is renaming military bases. They want to get rid of any sort of Confederate names. That's the big concern.
Confederate generals.
Confederate generals. We got to rename the bases. That's what this is all about.
To rename military bases that are currently named after Confederate generals. Congress, with bipartisan support, wants to rename those bases. The president does not. He may be headed, by all accounts, for a significant loss on that in December.
A significant loss on that.
It's retarded.
Around it. It throws everything into a bit of turmoil. Not to say that the new acting secretary is not a perfectly competent person, doesn't know the issues, can't get involved very quickly.
But how does he feel about the names of these bases? That's what we need to know.
But it throws things into turmoil. And once again, potentially, left on the hot seat here is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley. He is the president's chief military advisor. He is broadly seen as someone who tries to deal with Trump, who tries to find a way to convince the president to do the right thing on military decisions. Some people say he's an ally of Trump. Most people say he's nonpartisan as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. But Milley's the guy left behind. Milley is now the guy that the president ultimately will turn to for military advice. And will he be able to convince the president, not to have a period of turmoil?
I think we're done with this clip. But Brianna's funny. The one on the left.
Yeah, she was tough through the whole thing.
She just
super tough.
Yeah, not a move.
Do you want to share anything?
No, I think we're good. Unless you did have that Fox link, but I guess we showed it. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, the countenance is really sort of the takeaway from that. Do I have... Yeah, I guess this is the link. Or no. What is this? Oh, yeah. This is where Cavuto jumps in. Comes with a countenance.
Oh, well, I just think we have to be very clear. She's charging, the other side is welcoming fraud and welcoming illegal voting. Unless she has more details to back that up, I can't in good countenance continue showing you this. I want to make...
I can't in good countenance.
What is countenance? Countenance is a person's face or facial expression.
So he can't continue with that report, or he's going to make a bad face.
You'll make a bad face. It can also mean support, but countenance is generally when somebody uses that word and the person knows what that word means, they're going to come to the conclusion that you're talking about a person's face or facial expression. So the terminology that's coming out of these people is just horrid. Really, really, really bad, people. Countenance. Cut her off. So we'll see, brother. We will see what transpires. We'll be paying attention, and we'll be covering anything that seems newsworthy. Things that we might want to share with people.
You bet. So, yeah, we could be live again. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, people.
Is that what you were trying to say?
Stay tuned.
And we're just practicing. We're just getting used to some sound effects and some new intros and outros. And we're just trying to break news. We're just trying to stay on top of it. You know, before the rug gets pulled out from under us, we're going to pull the rug out from under them.
Yeah, and have some fun too. So
Thank you, Jason.
All the other types of fun have been pulled out from underneath us. We had the rug pulled out from underneath us, so looks like Trump might do it to Biden as well. We'll cover it.
Stay tuned. Cue the music.